Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where today we're in for something really cool. I'm here in Germany with my friend Mr.Saugmotoren and this is a BMW M car like no other. I've got to quickly point out that this is a really cool garage, a garage from which I took a lot of inspiration for my garage at home, the Museum, and in fact my SLS Black Series stayed with the Saugmotoren guys for a short period while I was away last year. This car, however, we've got to talk about it. This started life as an F21 116i, a regular 116i. It's a little bit different now. We have an M2 CS body kit. We have a very different engine under the hood, the E92 M3's 4-litre V8. Yes, you heard that right. We've got the M5 CS paintwork. We've got M4 axles and brakes, M2 CS wheels, M3 seats inside, completely new resculpted body. We've got an M140i rear bumper. We've got a whole load of things that have gone on under the skin in terms of the exhaust system, the cooling, the suspension. This is a project and a half that was done out of a passion and a love for creating the ultimate daily. We're going to take a look around this and then we're going to be joined by Mr.Saugmotoren to find out a bit more about it and go out for a drive in the craziest and most extreme BMW M car project ever. To some people out there, this might be a bit of a Frankenstein's monster. To others, it's epic. This literally blends together elements of 1 Series, 2 Series, 3 Series, 4 Series, and 5 Series, all completed in what was BMW M's anniversary year, hence the heritage roundels that this car wears as well. But literally starting life as an F21 116i, an F21 being the 3-door hatchback version of the 1 Series, but inspired by Mr.Saugmotoren's previous daily, which had been the 1M, the previous generation. Nothing like that really existed for this era, hence creating this. And the craziest thing, before we start going through all of the exterior side of it, is what you have under the bonnet, what's under the hood. So let me pop this for a moment. BMW, so a double pull of this, because lurking beneath here is just something you don't expect to see or hear, as we will do later on. The E92 M3's 4-litre naturally aspirated V8, revving up to 8,200 RPM, 420 horsepower, which was inspired by having the track tool here, the E92 M3, which we've had a look at before. But putting that in obviously brings a whole host of issues. An E-Series motor in an F-Series car in terms of the electronics. If you know about BMWs, you know that's probably a bit of a complication, but there were some wizards behind this project, obviously making all of that happen, making it all come together. Close that back down for the moment. To whiz you around the exterior before we're joined to go through things in more detail. M2 bumpers, M2 CS look, M2 competition headlights. Obviously, to fit this all on was pretty much a plug and play. I say obviously, but maybe not so obvious, even with the wider arches. Wheels, straight from the M2 CS, but hiding behind are the M4's carbon ceramic brakes and also the M4's axles. It's very much OEM, but OEM in a way that your head struggles to get round it, because it looks like it should have come straight out of BMW, but obviously they've never done anything like this. The wider arches, because these are actually the rear wheels. We've got 4 rear wheels here, 275 wide, all round, to give it a bit more traction, a bit more grip. As we come back, lots of technical challenges here, but basically they took the M2 CS bodywork, cut it, sculpted it onto here, cut it in, and made it all fit. Bumper, the M2's bumper gives a little bit of a weird look. So what's been done here is taking an M140i bumper instead to try and pull it all together. A few small touches still to go, like the reversing camera and that kind of thing. But basically giving it this completely natural look. The paint color is BMW's frozen deep green metallic that you know from the M5 CS. The cooler up front is also from the M5 as well. So we've got 4 Series, 5 Series, we've got a 3 Series engine, we've got the 2 Series bodywork based on a 1 Series. Inside as well, completely redone in here, but featuring the G80 M3's carbon fiber bucket seats that launched obviously with great fanfare and a completely retrimmed interior with the Alcantara and the brown tan leather that you have all around. I'm just looking at it. Like this thing's amazing, but we need to understand a bit more about it. So let's get joined by Mr.Saugmotoren to show us through it. I want to rewind back a little bit on this because this is a crazy idea that you had a few years ago and has now resulted in what we're looking at. But where did it kind of begin? Take us back. What was the idea behind this?
Well, it is still like crazy to now stand here and see the car because 2 years later, 2 years earlier, a friend of mine just sent me a post from Speed-TEC, the company in Düren, and they built a similar car, which is a silver F20, but with a V8 B-turbo. And this was some kind of inspiration for me. And I said, no, I want to change this and make the other engine and this and this and this detail. And so the plan was growing in my head. And then we started with the build, which took us now like 2 years. But now we're finished.
And it's crazy to think this was a regular base entry 116i.
Yes. If we show the pictures, it's crazy to see the conversion to now.
And that's where it began from. I know that you used to drive the 1M. You're a big fan of the E92 M3 that you have as your track car. And I suppose that was the main thing. Can we put the V8 in here?
Yeah. Which is kind of logical because I really like the 1M as a daily driver. And I really loved the engine of the E92. And so this was where I think, hey, can we somehow put this V8 engine into the new car? But I don't want it to go for the chassis of the 1M, but to some kind of new one. So we chose the F21.
And here it is. I mean, it seems quite perhaps obvious to say this, but because you've basically built this using OEM parts and well, OEM wherever, well, pretty much entirely. It's basically all OEM, right?
Exactly, except the suspension, which is from KW. I just drive a lot, also fast, and I think there is no way of a very good BMW suspension, so that's why we go for the KW. But beside that, it's all OEM.
It's crazy to think everything else has come together. And we say everything else because, for example, the wider arches here, for the rear. That's not something that just comes off the shelf because of the hatch body style. You have to get the parts for the M2 CS and make it.
Exactly. Well, you buy the whole rear section of the BMW M2, but the M2 is going like this shape, and so you cut this thing off the M2 section and cut it off the chassis of the 1 Series and then glue it together.
Simple. It's that easy.
Almost.
And I know you went for the M140i bumper rather than the M2 back here.
Yeah. We put the M2 bumper on and we figured out that it doesn't look good because it's like a little bit more to the outside of the car. And so we had to do some kind of a Frankenstein thing where we took the M140 bumper and glued some M2 bumper into this. So this is like 2 parts which we had made to 1.
Right. So you had to have both to do that. Exhaust system?
The front section to the middle section is OEM E92 M3.
Okay.
And the rear section is M2 CS. That's why if you lower the camera, you can see like the M2 CS exhaust, which is also, Yeah,
the box at the back. So talking engine, can we come round and pop this open quickly? Maybe if I slide on through, because this is, well, the beating heart of your project is the fact that you put this into it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just amazing.
Yeah. The plan for the whole car is to make it look as OEM-ish as possible. And so it is also the plan with the engine. The interesting thing is that there's even more space here than in the regular E92, which was interesting because you think that the 1 Series is smaller than the 3 Series, but it fits.
I guess time went by and these things have become easier in some ways to manage. So you have a 4-litre V8, which we're going to hear shortly, sitting behind the face of the M2 CS. Cooling.
Yeah.
M5.
Exactly. So for us, the easiest way was to get a cooling system of a F-Series car. And to get the proper cooling, we were trying to do different cooling setups. And the best thing we figured out is to take the cooling from the M5. Yeah.
Which does the job, and it matches with the paint color.
Yeah.
Which is quite a unique and distinct color, with the addition of the 50th anniversary roundels.
It is just a small funny thing. There are a lot of guys putting this badge on. I only did it because the car was built or finished in exactly the year where BMW celebrated the anniversary, so I thought it matches.
Yeah, it matches, it fits. It's right, it's natural with the car. Should we talk interior for a moment? Because even inside here, you've completely retrimmed the inside of the car, but you've also put in the G80 M3 seats.
Exactly. Well, at the time where I was looking for the seats, it was kind of difficult to find those seats because the G80 was pretty new, but I managed to get one and then went to a saddler in Cologne, and we were thinking about different colors, chose this spec, and I'm pretty happy with it.
For sure. The craziest thing about all of this to me is that you haven't done this as like a promo project for a brand, let's say, but it's your car. This is your daily car, right? Literally.
Yeah. The purpose is just to have a great daily driver and drive and enjoy it every day.
That makes no sense. How many kilometers have you done with it so far?
It is like, I think, 4,000 or so.
Running well?
It's running perfectly without any issues.
Absolutely incredible. I think we should get it started and pull it outside.
Let's do it.
Here we are then, and this is not normal.
Well, for me it's getting normal now because I drive it every day, but I guess for everyone else, not.
It's the combination of being in this car, sitting in these seats. These seats work really well in this car,
Yeah.
I've got to add. But also combining with that, the soundtrack that we have. I mean, the fact that even now, we've got the valves open because it's a controlled system, right?
Exactly.
But even now, at low revs, gentle driving, it's a familiar sound. It's not exactly the same as the E92.
No.
It sounds a bit different.
In my E92 I got the Acropolis set up and the sound is totally different to this one. This one sounds much more like maybe a bit Corvette-ish, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a little bit.
So the V8 is more recognizable, but
Yeah, it's not the same sound that you get even from like the stock one, and I guess that's due to having the different back box, the different silencer and things.
The good thing is that although it is pretty loud outside, which you can change if you close the valves, there's no drone inside the cabin, so it feels pretty good inside here.
And then when you do that, what a sound! This is the thing that's boggling my mind is that this feels in so many ways like it shouldn't feel factory because of how extreme it is.
Yeah.
But it does feel factory. It does feel like this is how they made it, right?
Yeah. There's like perfection everywhere because we also tried that every single button inside this one is working. So also with the steering wheel and the speedometer and everything is working as it should be.
Which cannot be easy. It revs out so nicely. It's a good balance of power. 400 horsepower is always kind of the sweet spot for me because you can use it, you can rev it up without, if you're in a modern supercar with 700 or the 800 horsepower and the 812 Superfast, you hit the speed limit like this. It's gone, it's done.
It is much more enjoyable. You can enjoy it like a longer time.
It's torquey as well. Is this heavier or lighter than an E92? What do you think?
It is, well, I can only compare to mine. I think to a stock E92 from factory, it is about the same weight or maybe a bit lighter. We weighed it with a half tank of fuel and it was like, I think, 1,500 zero.
Okay. That's pretty light.
It's okay.
A new M3 is like 1,800 or something. 300 kilos lighter than a new M3, which is significant, even if it's obviously slightly less power. So do different modes and things work?
Yeah, we also got the E92 offers this sport mode, which we have here, and so we can switch it on and off, and the throttle response is then like gentle and sporty.
Clever. It's cool that it works like that. Oh, use those revs. 8,000 RPM of V8.
Yeah, lovely.
Nice shift. Those downshifts when you flip it like that. We've had a swap around, which means it's my turn to experience this. And I tell you what,
finally,
the way that you have made this rev. That's a really, really engaging feel. So this is in normal mode, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So oppressive here in sport.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel the slightly more active throttle response.
Yes.
It's lively and torquey and out towards Autobahn then. That feeling in the middle of the rev range is really, really cool. It's addictive. I can see why you wouldn't want to be getting out of this. I wonder where you would get to the VMAX in here. Have you thought about it?
I kind of tried it. We did some runs where it was GPS 305.
305, okay. That's 189 miles per hour. Not bad for a 1 Series. Not bad at all. I mean, that's really quick. We finally get to some de-restricted signs. The way it revs up.
It's very fast.
That's awesome. This is cool. I've got a massive smile on my face right now driving this. I probably should go and drive another manual E92 M3 as well. I'm actually thinking right now because my dad had one and it was a DCT, not a manual, and obviously that was the beginning of dual clutch transmissions, and it was very, very impressive. But nowadays, the fewer cars that have these, the more we crave after them. We can deafen the Mini Driver. I mean, this is pretty pokey. It feels a lot more grown up than a 1 Series should feel.
Yep.
Like a lot more grown up.
Yeah, it feels pretty planted.
Yes.
Solid.
I think one of my favorite things with this is the downshift.
Yeah, I agree.
The downshift
totally agree.
is stunning. The way that this revs up, the way that it sounds, but the way that it feels and the speed with which it revs. One of the other things that's really interesting about this project is here in Germany, obviously you have the very, very strict TÜV for the regulations and modifications. But this has all been through TÜV.
Yeah.
You can do the engine swap like this and have it fully approved.
Exactly. There was no cheating. It is fully officially, and we can now drive into the city, and we don't have to worry about any police control.
That's amazing. And we've got an MTD restricted autobahn. Listen to that. That is insane. That sound is just intoxicating. It's addicting.
Yes.
And it's that whole, I know we've said this so many times, it's that whole concept that this is in an F21. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
You had a brilliant idea here.
Thank you.
It's absolutely genius. As
as I told you, that there would be the option to also fit a V8 B-turbo engine in it and go for like 800 horsepower. But for me personally, there is not a point to do this, because 400 horsepower or 450 is enough to drive on the B road, and as the traffic is getting worse anyways, I just want to feel the emotion and the fun, and I think therefore this engine is the best.
100%. It's a balance, isn't it? Because you can't put a score on engagement with a car. You can have a 0 to 60 time, you can have a horsepower figure, you can have a top speed, but at the end of the day, cars are so fast now that what you really want is something that makes you smile a lot.
Yeah.
And especially if you're driving it every day, you want a car that's usable, that's practical, that's functional, but makes you smile as well. And when you do that, and that, and that, you smile about as much as you possibly can.
We've returned back to base, and I came here a while ago. There have been a few new additions since, but I want to just pick out some of the other cars here quickly. I know a lot of you love the Opel Manta. In fact, actually do come through here. Come and have a quick look at this. Look at this thing. Absolutely ludicrous. Revs over 9,000 RPM. Obviously, we've talked a little bit about the E92 M3 just here. Ferrari 458 Speciale, another legend. We've got a couple of other M3s behind. That CSL is actually an E46 M3 manual with full CSL parts. The entire interior, the entire bodywork, everything exactly as per CSL. We have the Porsche Carrera GT, the M3 CS, obviously the 1M back there heading around the room, the 812 Superfast, the Dallara tucked in over that away. This that I'm standing right next to is a 997 Cup car, used to drive on the racetrack. Bit of a monster. Then obviously this way we have the 991.2 GT3 RS Weissach, we have a 997.2 GT3 RS 4 litre, 996 GT3 RS, and a couple of other Porsches dotted around all over the place. It's a really, really cool setup here at Saugmotoren, and in fact this whole layout up top with the mezzanine was a big inspiration behind my garage when I came to visit and catch up the first time about four years ago maybe now, when I was based not too far away in Frankfurt. Yeah, this was a big part of what I wanted to go for. This, however, has been quite the experience today. It feels like it should be something straight from BMW M. And when we were parked actually at a petrol station just filling up, somebody's immediately like, what is that? Because you can tell it's not right. You look at it, it's a 1 Series initially, then you look a little closer and you're like, but that's kind of an M2 competition CS style body. Then you hear it and you hear V8 and you're kind of like, this is not what I expected from this kind of thing. But that's what makes it so super cool. And I love a project like this, the fact that it's been seen all the way through, the fact that it was done as a passion project, literally. You know, this was done because of making something, not to promote anything or not to even necessarily demonstrate what was possible, but to daily drive. How cool is that? So a big thanks to Mr.Saugmotoren for joining me today, for letting me take the wheel to drive this extreme project to the max. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. So thank you very much for watching. That's it for this time, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.